So this is another conditional formatting question. So it says here on the values in row 37, which are the values in this row, so only these numbers, use conditional formatting to display the contents of the cell as red text, yellow background, if the CO2 emissions per passenger per minute is greater than the expected CO2 level per passenger per minute. So we've been given here an expected CO2 level value, which says 0.1. So what this means is if any of these values is greater than 0.1, we want to format them as described over here, red text, yellow background. So to do this first bullet, we're just going to highlight the values we want to apply the conditional formatting to. It's going to highlight all those values in row 37. To do the conditional formatting, you just make sure you're under Home. You're going to click on Conditional Formatting. You're going to go down to New Rule. And we're going to select the option Format Only Cells That Contain. And because these are numbers, we're going to leave them as the option as cell value. But what we're doing is if any of these values is greater than, so I'm going to select greater than, the expected CO2 level per passenger per minute, which is this value over here. So you could type in 0.1, but in this case, I'm going to actually select the cell 0.1, so it will recognize it as B35, that's its position. So if the cells, or any of these values, are greater than 0.1, we want the format of those cells to have red text, so font, going to make it red, with a yellow background. So fill, yellow background, and just OK. So this is what the cells should look like once we say OK. And there we go. So all of the values that are greater than 0.1 are now formatted as described in that first bullet. So now the second bullet. These values, or these cells, must have white text on a dark green background if this was not the case. So in other words, if any of these values are less than or equal to 0.1, they must be formatted as described in that second bullet. White text, dark green background. So we do the same thing, highlight the values. Then we're going to go to Home again, Conditional Formatting, New Rule, and the same option, Format Only Cells That Contain. And now we're going to say not between, but less than or equal to. We're going to say 0.1. And these values must be white text, dark green background. So I'm going to format. So dark green background and white text. It's OK. So this is what the cells should look like once we say OK, that fulfill this condition. And you can see here that they have changed. So all of these cells have a conditional formatting applied to it. And that is how you pretty much do this question. Hope that's right. Let me know if you have any questions.